Om Agyana Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumritam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hare Krishna. Vancha Akalpa Tarubhyascha Kripasindhu Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Thank you all. I just one thing of comment I wanted to make, hearing these wonderful memories of all these devotees. Yeah, thank you. That I'm reading the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. Very little is there in about Boston. Where's Soma Prabhu? Oh, there you go. But there's incredible amounts there. And I always wondered about this. So in the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, if you go, there's a few pages about Australia. Not many. But then there's a whole book called The Great Transcendental Adventure. That's 600 and some pages by our godbrother, Kurma Prabhu. 3 pages in the Lilamrita, but 600 pages. Srila Prabhupada's activities and teachings are like that. You just look at, they expand more and more and more and more. It's very wonderful. So, and the Christians have this saying, WWJCD. Have you ever heard this? Yeah. WWJCD. What would Jesus Christ do? And in ISKCON, we can adopt this phrase, WWJCD. SPD. What would Srila Prabhupada do? Dharmasya tattvam vihitam guhayam mahajanujjena gathasapantam. To actually understand how to do religion, dharma, you have to follow in the footsteps of the great devotees. So I encourage all of us, myself as well, to study how Srila Prabhupada did things. It's very important, because over time things change. You know the verse in Bhagavad Gita, Sakaleni hambahata yogunashtapavantapa, that over time things degrade. And that's what will also happen, hopefully not, but it does. The press is there in ISKCON that this will happen also. So it's important, because Srila Prabhupada told us, don't add anything and don't subtract anything. You've heard that before. Yeah. So it's really important for us to, now I'm saying this, now I'm old, now I finally am coming to this conclusion, I'm trying to be better at this, but to really study how Srila Prabhupada did things and try to understand it and try to follow better. I always tell this story wherever I go about the first time Srila Prabhupada came, that I saw him in New York in 1971. Were you there? 1971, July. Yeah. So, anyway, there's a lot of things that happened there. And Srila Prabhupada was so much in tune and attached to Lord Krishna. And when he came in those days, nobody just talked in the temple room. Nobody. First time I went to India was in 1975, and I thought, I'm going to see how people do this. In India, people do things the way, the real way it's done. And I went to the temple, and everybody's talking. I mean, the outside, not the temple devotees, but yeah. But in those days, in 1971 particularly, we didn't talk in the temple. And if you had to talk, you'd go outside, or you'd call somebody over and you might whisper, something like that, because you want to keep the devotional atmosphere very, very silent. You know this. So anyway, Srila Prabhupada came in and offered obeisances to, that time we had little Radha Krishna deities. Radha Govinda hadn't yet been installed. That was 1972. And then Srila Prabhupada called the temple president over. Bhavananda was the temple president. He called him over. And they were whispering. And it went on for a little while. And so then, after the class, everybody, what was Srila Prabhupada talking about? Because, nobody talks in the temple room. And, so what did Srila Prabhupada say? You remember this? Anyway, he said, We heard, he said, Srila Prabhupada said that Radha Krishna are looking tired. You know this? Anyway, Radha and Krishna are looking tired, which is very interesting that they need their rest. They need their rest. This is very interesting because at that time, there used to be in Los Angeles a Sankirtan party early with Vishnu Jan Maharaj. He would go out all night in Hollywood, on Hollywood Boulevard. And then they'd come back early in the morning and go to Mangalati and go to sleep. So Bhavananda had just instituted that in New York. There was a party that would go out on Broadway, and come back, like 3 o'clock in the morning after being out all night. And then, so they moved the Mangalarti up. Ordinarily it was 4:30, they moved it up to 3:30. So what time did they have to get the deities up? So Srila Prabhupada said, the deities are looking tired, they need to rest. So you know what they did? They moved the Mangalarti back to 4:30, like it's supposed to be. Anyway, there's so many stories about, or pastimes about devotees who've had that kind of relationship or understanding that Srila Prabhupada is personally served. It's not just kind of ritual that we do when we serve Krishna. It's actually a personal thing. Krishna's a person. And one of the first things devotees were saying that I was definitely a rank and file devotee, still am, trying to be. But anyway, in the early days, those days, devotees, the temple presidents often would push us forward to do some personal service. Like, I got to be Srila Prabhupada's guard for a little bit, guard, sat outside his quarters. But also, the first time he was giving class in the evening time, it was Bhagavad Gita class, and this was July, and it's in New York, and you'd have a room probably 2/3 the size of this room, and there's probably 300 devotees packed in this room. Guess what the temperature is like? It's hot. Yeah. So, and I was thinking, okay, so they called me up. Oh, why don't you can fan Srila Prabhupada for some time. You fan. And I was a new person. I didn't know. I had just joined like 3 months before. So I thought, well, sometimes you see devotees going like this with the fan when they, this, that. And they're my senior people, so I don't know. What should I do? I don't know. So I had this peacock feather in my peacock fan in my hand, and there's Srila Prabhupada. He's giving the class, and should I go like this? What do you think? Yeah. Oh, you know. So I started to fan, and then Srila Prabhupada turned around and smiled. It's not just a ritual. You can actually do personal service for Srila Prabhupada. Yeah, you can actually do it, and he reciprocates to you. Whatever your service, especially the book distributors, but especially he will reciprocate with you. And it reminds me of the time, for a lot of time my service in the early days was cooking for the deities and for the devotees. We worked together here. And there's another devotee, Mangalananda, who was the head cook there for a while. It was very nice. But at a certain point, the services were really, you had to go down to the kitchen way early in the morning and be working all day, blah, 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 blah. It's very, very, very hard, very hard. And I'm thinking in my mind, I never said it to anybody, but I'm thinking, does Srila Prabhupada really know what we're doing here? It's so hard, it's so difficult. Does he really know? And I'm just thinking this. I don't tell anybody. So this is like 1977. And by that time we had that big 13-story building in Manhattan, 55th Street. So those days, it was the practice of temple presidents, when they went to visit Srila Prabhupada, they would often bring a picture of the deities from their temple. You remember this? Yeah. So the temple president brought a picture to Srila Prabhupada of Radha Govinda. Okay. And so when he came back, he said, he showed the picture of Radha Govinda to Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada said, oh, Radha Govinda are looking very healthy. This must be the service from the service of their devotees there. And I'm thinking, Srila Prabhupada just answered my doubt. You see? Isn't that interesting? I mean, it was wonderful. And, that just doesn't, I'm not trying to say that to glorify me, but this applies to all of you also, even today. Do you follow? He will know that you serve what service you do. The disciples and the grand disciples, he will reciprocate with you, because as Srila Prabhupada always used to say, that the grandfather is even more merciful to the children than the father, isn't it? You heard that. So for all of you, those who are Prabhupada disciples, they know Srila Prabhupada's mercy, but those who are grand disciples, his mercy is still abundantly available as a result of your sincere service. Hare Krishna. I could go on and on, but I don't want to take. What was it? My time is up, probably, right? Huh? Yeah. Okay. Other stuff I could say, but later. Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna.